All right. Okay. So, Pachaparo, Y97, thank you for tuning in the replay. I think I figured out what was going wrong here. All right. So, this is now the third attempt at this. What I just did a whole video and I didn't. So I had an error and the sound didn't come through. So I went to reduplicate it and just now, and I realized that I had the same glitch. So I think I figured out what it was. I had too many different things going on. So it's always the perfect day. Now I'm showing you the old video because uploads live right to YouTube because there was a tarot card involved, and I don't want you to, because that card it perfectly went with the conversation when it was pulled live. I'm gonna actually go back and pull that card out and set it aside for when we get to that part. So it was the 3 of coins, and it's always a perfect day. So everything's a gift and a curse, and the curse is I gotta do this shit again, which is actually gonna be part of the gift because now I kind of remember all the stuff I did live, and like when it's off the top, it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of authentic, but at least now what I can do, because I know how I wanted to progress, I'll probably be able to get through this a little faster for you and save you a little time with the same message. There you go. It would be like all the way at the bottom at that time. All right. So here we go. I'm gonna show you this card. Because that's the card I had earlier when I did the video. Let me see. And there was no sound. Okay, so when we get to this part, I'm gonna pull this card. I'm gonna pick it up this time, but I need you to know that on the first version it was pulled live, and I'm just redoing the card. All right, so enough with that, right? Let's get to how we got to the card to begin with, and what we're talking about is I actually saw a great post, and I'm the type that I interact with the people around me. That's why they're around me, so that we can interact and build. And I like great minds, and we build and everything. And normally I check the sound, and I just was rushing to another video, and afterwards, and I don't know. So anyway, we're doing it again. It wasn't that long ago, but what happened was I saw this post. I shared the comment, and I typed this out, right? Because I get asked a lot. I'll start off with this quote. The hardest part of having any wisdom is constantly remaining disciplined to the knowledge. All right. So with that being said, here, let me do this real quick and get this part ready. All right, because that's the only. Yeah. All right. So the hardest part of having any wisdom is constantly remaining disciplined to the knowledge. Thanks for rocking with me through that little turbulence there. All right. So now, with me being mathematically based and equation based, what I realize with a lot of people is, when you get to a certain level in the law of attraction or the mathematics and stuff, the quantum physics, the prayer and the receiving of that situation, whatever it is you want to describe it as, when you get down into a certain depth of discipline, you have to adhere to your discipline, right? The hardest part of having any wisdom is constantly remaining disciplined to the knowledge. So the words are powerful. The words, when you don't know what they mean, because this is the etymology version. This is the etymology part section. All right, so it is a little quirky now because I went through it. It was all right. So what it is, this video gonna be for the etymology and energy section, and because I haven't given them a video, and they were like my original subscribers, my original viewers, and I've been working on all this new stuff. And you know what? They earned it. They've been very patient. I appreciate you all. So here's one for you. This one's for you. So, right, what it is, and it's all related because energy, when you go back to YNET 7, you know, you see it here. You see the formulas and the equations on the board, right? And what it all is based off is frequency and energy and all that good stuff, right? So that's the same relationship between the cards, like the tarot part. It's the same relationship when you have words and energy and you're speaking them. You're creating a vibration of like energy. And you know, now if you're tuning in and you primarily enjoy the stock information that's coming out from the channel, those charts are graphs of frequencies as well too. So everything is like based off of energy. So it's all the same. So what's going on is this was really amazing and thought-provoking. So go ahead and check out Breakthrough Kings on Facebook. And because I just deal with the truth, you know, I can analyze and discuss topics, and it's no malice or it's no contest. It's not to say that's good, it's bad, it's whatever. It's the truth, right? The truth is the truth. Can't be won or lost. So what we have going on here is great dude, and like I said, go check him out. Now, what he said was, brother, maturity is forgiving people without getting the apology you deserve, which I can see as being true for the people that resonate in their belief and understanding of what they're taught forgiveness is. But we're going to clear all that up right now. So I took that because it motivated me when I thought about it, and I understand how many people can relate to that. And what it did for me is it also increased the value I had for why I'm different and don't have that same view. And I'm going to share that with you right now. So remember, everything's an equation to me. It's mathematically an equation. So the etymology of the word forgive is to give or grant, right? So I'll read this text because I said maybe I'm immature, right? So to forgive equals I, and let's put the 4 in parentheses, give you, like, so which means the you in the equation is receiving what? The I. So every time I were to forgive someone, I am by law giving them a piece of I, myself. And if I gave a piece of I to everyone that owes me an apology, there would be nothing left of me to give. And that's why I'm unforgiving. I'd rather get rid of the trust issue in the equation. And I said, at least I'm honest. Am I wrong? So how did I come to this formula, right? Well, let's look at what the word forgive means, okay? Right here, here's the etymology of the word forgive. And I'm using, for those who are interested, my little torn up, I had to tape the edges, but you can't even read it because it's taped. It's the Barnhart concise dictionary of etymology, right? Probably get one for $60-$80. So it's an entry level etymology dictionary, so you can see the origin of the words, which is what they really mean, because basically the whole English language that we use or know as today is slang from what it really meant. And why is that important? That's important because if you're trying to use the law of attraction, or you're actually trying to pray to your Most High, if you're actually trying to speak in law or anything like that, you kind of need to know what the words mean, or else you might be receiving something thinking you're getting, wondering why you're not getting what you're asking for, but you're actually getting exactly what you're attracted. All right. So with that being said, the word forgive means to give, grant, and forgive. So when you look at this, that's why you saw me take out the word forgive and put it back in parentheses with the for in parentheses, because we can replace the word for, it's the variable, because to understand, it's like a dictionary is really like a thesaurus. So you gotta look at, to understand what one word means, you gotta actually look at what the other, what the words describing it means, so you can you get where I'm going with it. So anyway, so we can take out the forgive and just put give. So I give you, right? I, and then it's give. So you have I, and the I is being given, or I give, and the you is receiving. Okay? So that's how you get to, which means the you in the equation is receiving what? The I. Right? So every time I were to forgive someone, I am by law giving them peace myself. Now, when you look at give, here's where it gets interesting. Because the word give, it gives you a whole bunch of stuff where it comes from, and it gives you a whole rundown all the way back to like the year 725 and tells you all this stuff. But what it's getting to is altered by influence of its opposite. Okay? See, the truth is, that's what I am. I'm the truth. You know what I'm saying? And I resonate best with people that's the truth. But what happens is, when people don't completely know themselves, they have emotional attachments that they haven't realized is emotional attachments to beliefs and not knowledge of, right? So they'll look at you strange because you're focused on being the 100% truth, because what the hardest part of having any wisdom is constantly remaining disciplined to the knowledge. So when you want the truth, nothing but the truth, the whole truth, not a fraction, you gonna kind of shun some people away because you're rocking on a level, a standard of honor, of morals, discipline that's exhausting to the average person. You gotta remember, a lot of people are used to a pacification society, right? That little half toddler, half child kicked the other one, and the adult came and said, "What did you do that for?" And they were like, "I don't know." And they said, "Well, you know that was wrong, right?" And they said, "Yeah." And they go, "Well, say sorry." "Oh, okay. Tell me you apologize." "Oh, sure, yeah. All right, right?" So, you know the saying, if you can't do the crime, don't do the time. So what happens is, you start to become, you at some point, and I think everybody's life, we realize, we did something. Grandma, ma, whoever, mother, whoever, father, somebody beat your ass, and you may or may not have got many ass whoopings, badges of honor, people. So, but at some point you probably realize, you know what, I'm okay. Afterwards, after one of them, you weren't, you was just like, I'm okay, it wasn't that bad. We made it through. We're going to be okay. So now the next time you were out deciding to do whatever, you were just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm 14. I'm not coming home at 11 o'clock. I'll be back tomorrow, maybe. I don't give a fuck anymore, because they're not going to do nothing. They don't care. Right? So what happens is, every time you forgive, you're giving a part of you. right? So if something's being done wrong to you, an injury, which also means wrong, not just, something physical, just simply being wronged. There's already been some sort of capture from you, right? Because you're injured or you've been done wrong. And then you turn around and give more of yourself to them in the form of what they call forgiveness. So what I'm getting at is that over time becomes very depleting of you, I would think, right? And that's why you get the title of your forgiveness is self-erosion. See, when you focus on being the truth, the whole truth, there's no need to forgive, because the truth don't have to be won or lost. There's no debate. You see what I mean? Everybody's trying to contest each other. You're not saying everybody, but many people are trying to contest each other, and that goes back to that same pacification problem. See, because what we don't realize is that our brains and our bodies also secrete painkillers. Like our own body creates a painkiller. Like I put a comment up somewhere before, when you laugh, your body secretes a painkiller, because that flexing of your abdominal area leads to pain, or would lead to pain. That's why you got the saying something like, laugh so hard my belly hurt, whatever, stomach hurt, all that good stuff. It's because it's actually true, right? The truth can't be one of those. So your body secretes a painkiller to numb the pain. So a lot of people don't realize that they're living their life and they're looking for certain experiences to trigger certain chemical reactions in their body because they're addicted to painkillers, and they feel like everything's okay because they're not trying to find like a Vicodin or something. So when you come through being the whole fucking truth, the truth hurts. You see what I'm saying? So your level of discipline, your level of being prayed up, your level of the study of the equation, your level, whatever you want to call it, it's exhausting to them. It hurts them. So they run from you. You see what I mean? Because they associate that feeling of pain with your presence, not realizing that it's the truth, because the pacification of society has allowed them to always be pacified, and someone is forgiving them. See, when something's done right, I don't want an apology, because in reality, you at that time you did it, so you meant to do that. Like whatever it was, you meant it. You did it. Like if you didn't mean it, you wouldn't have done it. Whatever it is, you wouldn't have said it. Like you wouldn't have whatever. You see what I mean? So all I'm really concerned with at that time is, if anything, is what's your thought process? What was your thought process at that time? Like, not to say it's going to change the outcome, but as a learning experience, let me know what you were thinking when you did that. You see what I'm saying? Because otherwise, I'm being altered by the influence of an opposite, or you're being altered by influence of its opposite. That's what give is. So if you come in here talking about, I'm the realest, 100%, keep it 100, whatever it is your term is for you, and somebody shifts you, and then you say, oh, well, you know what I mean? You've now been altered. You're impure from what you were. Now, you see the word grant there, right? The issue is once you grant the person the opportunity to do that, you now created that don't do the crime, if you can't do the time moment, and they realize whatever it is they got to go through to make amends with you, right? Instead of saying, you know what, if I keep it real with this person, I would never do that. So just the fact that they're not operating in the whole truth, they create a trust issue, and they want your response to the trust issue to be you forgive them, which now you're giving them more of yourself as the action, and you've created a condition where you're created a condition where you can now it can now be duplicated because they know what to expect. So a lot of people look at some people's relationships, right? Some people, they know they didn't like such and such in the very beginning, the first time it happened, but then they keep accepting 27 apologies, and 6 years later they finally, it escalates to some climax where they blow up, and it's all a problem now. But you knew, or they knew, they didn't like that the first time, but they kept giving a little more of themselves, a little more of themselves, a little more of themselves, till they were going, right? Because what we're getting at is, right, give, and that's why I use the word erode. So you're eroding. What's eroding? It means to be gnawed away at. So when you're allowing someone to, that's your side of the coin. You're forgiving. You keep giving a piece of yourself. And if you go back to the whole thing, the point of the matter was, now, and if I gave a piece of I to everyone that owes me an apology, there'll be nothing left of me to give. Think about how many people, whether they think you know or don't know, did you something that they was, you should be owed an apology for in your whole life. Now, if you gave a piece of yourself to each one of them, how much of you would be left at the end of the day if you just went back and got that and gave that back pay of yourself to everybody? You know what I mean? You feel where I'm going with this? So what happens is, now here's where the hypocritical situation comes into play. Because you can't say, well, this was on this level of just, this was just wrong, and this was not that wrong, and this was, somewhat wrong. Go see my other video about equations and variables. It's all the same equation. So how do you protect, because you can't keep what you can't protect, how do you protect yourself from such an attack? You have to be unforgiving. Because once you become unforgiving, there is no debate. It's either true or it's not, right? There's no levels, and there's no left and right and up and down, and it was here and not there, and all these different reasons. Can you forgive me? There's none of that. And that's the only way you stop it, is to be totally unforgiving. Because otherwise you're acting in a hypocritical manner. You're saying this is okay, but this is not, when it's still the same thing. Which is why I don't do titles. You know what I mean? Which is why I'm known to be dismissive. Which is why I don't have emotions. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any emotional attachments, because it's either true or it's not. So all of that opportunity for emotional attachments isn't there. It's just true or it's not. There is no but this and well that. No, it's true or it's not. It is or it isn't, right? So now when you look, I normally don't check, but I'm like, let me check. Somebody might be saying it's messed up again. All right, cool, good. So going back to the gnaw, right? So the erosion, eroding means to gnaw away at, and then gnaw means one who eats with long teeth, right? So what you're looking at with long teeth is like, are we talking the vampires, the bloodsuckers? You know what I'm saying? They draining your energy from you. See, because you've forgiven, you keep giving a piece of yourself. You got your cost. The cost of your ownership of your peace goes up because you always dealing with something, right? This is only a balanced equation if you get rid of the you, and you can only forgive yourself. See, because whatever you give, you give it into yourself, and it's circulating. Otherwise, you're just being depleted. So you got some fangs in your neck, and they keep sucking your blood out, and they draining you. And then if you got all of these fangs on you, how long are you gonna last? And you keep forgiving, and you keep forgiving, and you wonder why you're not getting nowhere or getting the results you want. You see what I'm saying? Like, I never, like when I say I do titles, like I never gave you me. It's, you know, it's, I got what you could call it commitment issues. I'm a Virgo. I got trust issues. You see what I'm saying? I don't do titles, period. Specialist. Because when you're the specialist, it don't matter what you look like. Titles always come with terms and conditions. You have to give yourself, you have to give pieces of yourself away a lot of the time to fit into this title at the moment, to be in this box. Right? If a chick says, like, that's what I'm saying, the chick don't be going around here calling me, that's my man, that's my king, no, I'm not. I didn't give you me. I gave you time with me. You see what I'm saying? Because what I'm really doing is I'm working on myself. And while working on myself and developing myself, you are a part of that process. But I never gave you me. That would be forgiveness. You would have to forgive that person to be in your life. But see, we don't always use the words right because we may not know what they really mean. So if all of our thoughts are prayers, we think we're praying for one thing and we'll be granting miracles that we feel like we didn't ask for and wonder, why is this happening to me? The law of attraction. The scientist side called quantum physics. It's all a frequency. Remember? Go back to these equations. Or an equation, period. Everything is mathematics. So now that you're looking at erosion, right? Okay? And we got the null factor. Now, I thought this was pretty cool because it's from Wikipedia and it's all about erosion control. You see what I'm saying? So when you check this out, it says erosion control is the practice of preventing or controlling wind or water erosion in agriculture, land development, coastal areas, riverbanks, and construction. Effective erosion controls handle surface runoff, and there are important techniques in preventing water pollution, soil loss, wildlife habitat loss, and human property loss. Now, everything's an equation, so let's use this sentence as an equation, change the variables, and use them as metaphors. So remember, we talking about you got to forgive is the erosion in yourself, right? And you want to protect yourself. You want to remain whole. You want to be full. You want to be complete. So you got to practice preventing or controlling that wind blowing past you, that water around you, right? In your agriculture area, like what you trying to grow. You trying to grow yourself. You trying to grow a business. You trying to grow a brand. You trying to grow a family. You got to worry about the flow around you that's feeding that, whether it's wind, air to breathe, what you smelling. You know what I mean? You breathing it in, you still taking it in. That water is supposed to lubricate you and transfer energy through you, all kinds of stuff, right? You got to absorb that osmosis. So you got to control and prevent what your osmosis situation is for what you're growing. Okay, land development. That's your foundation. All right? What you're built upon. You see what I mean? Are you forgiving your foundation? Are you eroding your foundation? Eventually, what are you going to have to stand on? That's where you get stuff like always stand on your square. So if I give a piece of my square, if I erode, if I forgive my square that I'm standing on, eventually it will no longer be a square. Okay, coastal areas, right? The land mass is a body, the water is a body. This is where two bodies meet. You got a relationship. Now you got business and transactions, because historically the waterways and riverbanks was always like, transportation and trade. And so they say. We might have been flying jets in 1100 BC. They may have kept that from us. I know you enjoy the bad jokes. So, but now, how are you forgiving in business? Are you forgiving in trade? Because now you're always giving and not replacing and replenishing. So eventually, what happens in that situation? Your business erodes. Your trade situation erodes. Construction. What are you actually building in life? What's your purpose? Right? Are you giving that away? Are you eroding your construction? So the effective erosion controls handle surface runoff. So you got, JC, got some dust on going, rest your shoulders up. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let that surface run off. You see what I mean? Or that wind and that water around you that's trying, right? Because when they come with you talking about, hey, will you forgive me for what? For what? Because if you took it there, right? That's a trust issue now, because I can't. Why would you want somebody around you that even thought it was okay to even do whatever? Like we losing time working on building generational wealth, working on building the new city, working on building the next this. Because you playing games. Because you into pacification. Because the truth hurts. Now I get judged a lot, but it's okay because I understand me. I know the truth of how it may affect other people. It's easier for someone to say something wrong with me when I tell them I don't forgive, because I don't do titles, or I don't have emotional attachments, because it's easier for them to say something wrong with me because they've been programmed by society. That incident with the little kid kicked the other little kid, that happened when they was 5 years old. You see what I'm saying? Someone told us the world was round when we were 5 years old, and we never double checked that shit. We just been 60-year-old people told us, no, I know it's round. And you're like, how do you know? I mean, really, I'm okay with just saying I don't know, because I don't know. Some stranger told me that when I was 5 years old at some strange place while my parents was working, or said they were at work and I wasn't home, and I had to say the same thing so I can get an A on the test and star. So when I showed my mother, she could not give a fuck and say she can't wait till I'm 18 so she can kick me the fuck out. So who the fuck cares? If it was something else, you wouldn't be saying so confident. Why don't we apply that to other stuff? Right? So surface runoff, you got to develop these techniques, because otherwise, due to the osmosis, the outside influences is the pollution of the waters in you, right? Remember, the fangs in your blood, the soil loss. Like I said, use the metaphors of how this is in your life. The wildlife habitat, and the human property loss. And I thought this was very key, because it didn't just say property loss, it said human property loss. Like your humanity, right? Because if you don't have nothing to stand on, what they say, you fall for anything. And that's the problem with forgiveness. Because once you forgive, When and where do you ever in life draw the line of not giving yourself repeatedly to bullshit? Now, what the card was, right? The card was the three of coins, and I'm just gonna hold. Let me get you a better screen here. I'm just gonna hold it up for you, so you can check it out, right? And I appreciate you because I know that was like kind of stumbled through because, like I told you, I did this off the fly, off the rip, and it went real, And I was trying to make sure I covered all the key points because now I'm remembering instead of just, how it goes. So every now and then, shit fuck up. I do this shit again. You get the message, you get the point, do some research, and then we got the three of coins that came up. And what this card is the Lord of Material Works, right? So the Lord of Material Works, and the general meaning is work providing pleasure, great understanding of one's job and mastery. And what I need you to know is that I'm going to tell you, I feel, and I know this because this is why everything is centered around, is what's your purpose? See, you were born here, you were placed here to do one thing, and that's to master yourself. You see what I'm getting at? We're all here to master ourselves, our flaws, our strengths, our weaknesses. But we so busy attacking others that we distracted. We're forgiving ourselves to them, wondering why we are lost completely. So when you're focused on that, right? You're focused on your actual purpose. You're not distracted. See? You're not being eroded by other uninvolved things. So now the events are improvement of one's own abilities, improvement of quality, and qualification. Once you stop getting diluted, right, you become qualified for your purpose. You see what I mean? Like, stop worrying about society and just fall into you. Okay? So forgiveness is going to be your erosion because you're constantly being, hold on, here we go, right here in the word give, what? Altered by influence of its opposites. And then it continues to say to take from the original stem, as in riches. They're robbing you of your value by forcing you to be something that you're not. They're not actually forcing you, I can't even say, but you're allowing yourself to be something that you're not. So you're robbing yourself of your own value. Does that make sense? So under business, right, it's money, interest is lower. And that's where I'm really tying that to the cost of your freedom and peace is lower when you ain't got to deal with all the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? If you got someone that's always that you're always got to forgive, what are you going through to get to that point where you always got to forgive? Like that, what is transpiring? That's a lot of, like I said, wasted time and energy, effort, right? So now your cost of actually serving your purpose is far less and more efficient because you've eliminated the distractions and the issues. So person is working for pleasure because when you build yourself up, it's an amazing feeling. You set yourself up for disappointment focused on others all the time because now they control you. Like, again, terms and agreements. That's titles. So now to say, hey, do you forgive me? Now you gotta sit down and write a fucking contract. Both sides gotta bring in their mediators and shit, right? And come to an agreement on how, what, when, where, and why. You know, this, that, and the other. And I mean, for what? So it can happen next month? All right, so performance of work, matter of honor. Now, see, people are okay with feeling good. To accomplish your goals, you're not going to always feel good. Like I said, the truth hurts. You're gonna go through some stuff. You're gonna be tested. You're gonna be tried. You're gonna have challenges, and you gotta be in a psychological state to learn to enjoy that feeling of growing closer to your accomplishment, growing closer to your goal. Time, and you keep bringing the pain. You see what I'm saying? So the only difference between that is the personal matter of honor. Like I said, are you going to accept the fraction? Oh, well, sometimes this, that, and the other, and this, or are you going to just be the truthful? You know what, man? I'm going to keep it real with you. Look, I don't do titles because the only thing that determines that you're going to be here tomorrow is what you do today. Because, see, once you say, that's my so-and-so, now their definition of what you're supposed to be, which is different for like everybody, right? You got to try and become that instead of being yourself. And then you wondering why, like I be hearing, it's almost to the point where it's a joke. You see it on like YouTube comedian jokes. And it's like, oh, I can't come out right now. And my wife, I'm like, that was pre-COVID. I mean, that was pre-CV, TV. You know what I'm saying? So, what you mean you can't come outside? Like, oh, all right, well, okay. I mean, I'm a Virgo, so we be in hermit mode a lot, but that's because we want to be in hermit mode. We're probably working on some shit, something like that. Not that someone told us you can't go out because you are there something. What the fuck is... You see what I'm saying? Now, at the same time, if that's that person's resonate, how they resonate, then I feel like the right person in that position, you won't have to have that conversation because they're not going to do nothing to you that would lead to an apology or lead to the need of an apology. Like I said, by the time you do something like, I'm not saying it's major. Like, it could be simple. Like, you fucking made a left when you should have made a right. Like, what were you thinking? You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on. Because clearly we were supposed to go right. Now you're developing a trust issue because we were both aware that we were supposed to go right and you went left. And I need to know why, because otherwise I can't trust that next time we're supposed to go right, we won't wind up going left. And now it's a conflict because I need to be able to trust. Like, that's how simple this shit is for me, because Virgos are also trying to be the most efficient they can. So that shit is inefficient. Now we got to have a whole conversation about what the fuck happened. And guess what? I ain't trying to do this 2-3 times a week, a month, a year. You see what I'm saying? So the difference is just wanting to achieve that honor of just being able to say, yo, I'm locked into the truth. Because the truth can't be won or lost. There's no debate. There is no contest. Society's really competitive. They're always trying to somehow feel like they're in position of some better position than someone else. You know what I mean? So it's always a competition, whereas in reality, I'm the truth. Like, none of that shit matters to me, because what can trump the truth? It either is or it isn't. All right. So this is why, personally, I shed. All right. So okay. So on the relationship side, right? It's one of the best cards for a relationship. Such relationship is throughout Lee, and it says throughout Lee, like actually Ly, regulated. And that's what I'm getting at. When you're about the truth, like, you go, it's all the way through to the core, because it is as above, so below. Everything is mathematically in perfect balance and harmony, so it's gonna be true or it's not. You see what I'm saying? And then people are arguing about different versions. You either are or you're something else. So you either are the truth or you're this infinite possibility of something else that's not the truth, but it's something else. You see what I mean? So to be the truth, you must be thoroughly regulated, which is why your discipline, your wisdom is so exhausting to them. Because they're just like, oh, forgive me, oh, I messed up, oh, yeah, you know, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, but you're disciplined. You have rituals, right? You have routines, don't you? All right, so built on great effort, comprehension of each other in the level of instincts. For example, loves to smell, or love to smells, harmony, absolute mutual agreement, overall acceptance of a partner as, you know, he or she. So again, when you're dealing with the truth, there is no contest. It is or it's not. Like, what are you fighting over? Right? And then the great efforts, comprehension, like you just in sync because you agree to the truth. It's simple. Like life, I really see life so differently because it's as simple as applying one law to everything. That's how simple all this is. But they'll say something's wrong with you because it's easier to say that than to say, hey, I need to put in some work. Right? So like the advice is to do everything excellently or perfectly. You know what I'm saying? Again, that's hold yourself to that higher standard. Work on being the truth because it'll just eliminate everything out your life that's not the truth, and then you'll wind up finding out that you don't have to forgive and you don't have to be gnawed upon, and you'll see the difference in your energy and your physical health and all that stuff, right? Because the health, it's all practice related to improvement of the body and health, fitness, bodybuilding, cosmetology, good health. Psychological characteristics of a person, inspiring confidence in himself, clever, loves detail, and accessories. So think about that confidence in yourself. Why are you apologizing? I mean, why are you forgiving? Right? Forgiveness is like it means you was confident when you was like right? You felt, but they're not converting you. What are they doing? Right? You're being altered by influence of the opposite. So basically, if you're being altered, isn't that like a change in your confidence of where you were a moment ago? You know how y'all had them arguments and you were like, or they were like, I ain't talking to them. I ain't calling them. And then you like, I'll smooth them over. You know, like it's a whole process that you had a class for in like 4th grade or something. And then the advanced class in middle school and then the bachelor's course in college. You know, yeah, I went to smooth them over 101. Like, you know, we were here and then now we're back together. You know, like how the fuck, like, right? That's a confidence shift. And the only reason you're able to have that shift is because of uncertainty and trust issues that you allowed to fester in your life because you weren't fully operating in the truth. So when you meet somebody that's like totally 100% trying to every second of the day adhere to the truth, it's exhausting. Or you find reasons not to like them because you want the numbing brain drip from laughing because your belly hurt, and you're like, oh, they're not as fun because they don't numb the pain for you. The truth hurts. And when you're working on yourself and bettering yourself, it feels so good. So the advice was what we just went over. The warning is do not be attracted by the exterior. See, that pacification, that apology, that wanting forgiveness, that's all shallow because it never changes or it never exposes what's truly at the core. It just creates an illusion of persuasion of your confidence, right? The truth is what they say, throughoutly regulated, as above, so below. You see what I mean? All right, last thing. The result is what work that you will be doing will provide you great satisfaction. All right? Because you'll know what you're doing from the start, and you'll be able to get good at it. Your confidence will be high. You'll be able to recognize what's not for you instead of allowing things to fester in your life. Just take time and study yourself, find your purpose, and stop being so forgiving, because if you forgive everybody that owes you an apology, there's not going to be none of you left. And the only way to not be hypocritical about, well, I would forgive you, but fuck them, and they did the same shit. Like, how do you do that? Or how do you say, I forgave you 20 times and this is the last time? Well, which one is it? Like, you're a hypocrite. I mean, just by definition, not as an insult. So when you start operating on the truth and be like, yo, look, you know what, this how, you know, what it is how I view that shit, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. What were you thinking? Okay, I understand. You know what, maybe I understand that, maybe I don't. Well, look, this is where we at, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, going for it. Now, if they continue, then they showing you who they are. Remember your foundations. Remember your erosion control. Get out of that situation. Pasha Paro, Y97.